Hi, I'm Lesley Greening. For today, I'd like to discuss stages and stage gates within a project, why you'd have them. So first of all, what is a stage? Some people seem to be of the opinion that a phase and a stage have different meanings, whereas really both stages and phases are periods of time or work within a project. Some people think that a stage is a higher level and it has lots of smaller phases underneath. Some people think the other way around. You have phases and then you have lots of little stages. Now, it's irrelevant to me which is which, but what is relevant is the fact that you have consistency. So whatever level you say a stage is, then just stick to it. It can be very confusing for people, especially newcomers into the project, if you keep using the words interchangeably, especially if you do use both terms. So just be consistent in the use of them. So a stage gate then it's a gateway between one stage and another. You do all the work in one stage and you have a predetermined set of deliverables. So you agree on deliverables you're going to have at that end stage. At that point, you have those deliverables reviewed by a review board. It could be the project board, but it's senior management. And at this point, generally, this is where you'll have funds released in order to proceed to the next phase. So it's a good method to ensure that the project is mature enough to invest more money in to proceed. So I thought we'd just do a quick example. Now, the example I'm using is just to show you the process and what would be expected. But obviously, depending on your project, depending on the organisation, on your approval methods, your funding methods, would depend on exactly what was in each stage. But for my example, I'll say that the stage 1 and stage gate 1, you could say is concept. So during stage 1, you would develop the business case. This would be a justification of why you needed to do this project. Maybe there's a business need and a solution is required to meet that need. Maybe it's an opportunity and you know that the organisation will benefit from that opportunity. So for stage 1, it would be the business case. That would be the predetermined deliverable that would need to go to the stage gate for approval. So for stage gate 1, input would be the business case. Output would be the approval of the business case and also funds for release for the next stage for starting up the project. Now for stage and stage gate 2, you could say was the definition or initiation, if you like. Now, at this point, you would establish requirements. You would do all your requirements gathering and all your analysis, write the project charter, what the project was about. This may be a PID or a project initiation document with imprints too. You'd identify the stakeholders. So that's stage 2. Now, the gate 2, the input would be your statement of requirements, stakeholder register with all your key stakeholders identified at this point, and your project charter or PID. The output would be the approved project charter and the statement of requirements, and also the approved stakeholder register. And this, of course, would give you funding for the stage 3. Stage and stage gate 3 would be feasibility, or sometimes known as options analysis. So at this stage, you have a feasibility study. You consider your options and analyse the options, and you identify your preferred option. So for the stage gate, your input would be your feasibility report or options analysis report and a revised project charter. The output, as the other stage gates, would be the approved deliverables. So you'd have the approved feasibility report and the approved project charter, and the funds would be released for the next stage. Now that's hopefully, because sometimes the funds aren't released. They decide, no, they want more information. I mean, these stage gates are managed by and reviewed by senior management. Maybe it's a project board, whatever your organisation sets up as governance. But they have to approve those deliverables before you can go on to the next stage. So it could be that during options analysis, they're not really happy with some of the numbers that come out, because during a feasibility phase, you have to put some sort of costings against it, timelines. So maybe they're not happy with something that comes out of it, in which case you have to go back and redevelop what you've done. Now, during the stage, it's always good with each stage to keep the management aligned to what you're producing. Don't leave everything to the stage gate before showing them what you've produced. You need to have them on board with the direction that you're going. So it's always best to include them with certain reviews within that period of time within the stage. So then that would take you on to the next stage, which is stage 4, which is your planning. So then stage 4, you'd produce your project schedule and your management plans. How are you going to manage the project? How are you going to manage change? How are you going to manage risk? So all these processes need to be defined. So for the gate 4, your inputs would be something like a work breakdown structure or product breakdown structure, which is your scope document. A schedule, which defines some of the costs, your timelines and tasks and resources required. The initial risk register and your management plans. And these will all go in for review. So the senior management would check to see if they agreed with everything you got in, whether you'd had considered all the things that needed to be considered at that particular time, to establish whether your project was mature enough to go to the next stage. So once again, hopefully the outputs will be approved work breakdown structure or scope document, schedule, project management plans, agreed risk register, and then the funds will be released for your design stage. And then we go the same again. During the design stage, you'd produce your draft designs and your detailed designs. So then your input would be your design documents and design drawings to be approved. When these are approved, then the funding is released to implement the project or deliver the project. Now, at this stage, generally, this will be the last stage that funding is released. Some organisations may want the delivery or implementation part split up, but generally, once they've got to the design phase and they're happy with the design and that they think it's a deliverable project, then the funding will be released for the rest of it. And then, of course, you may have one for closeout, which would just ensure that you'd had all the sign-offs that were needed to close the project out. So the benefits of this is that it adds confidence that the project is on the right track and is producing what it needs to produce. It gives confidence to the senior management. It adds a quality control level for the project processes and the deliverables, make sure things are being done as they should be done. It aids senior management for decisions on which the project should continue and which project shouldn't. Sometimes it will help if there's a limited funding, which there generally tends to be, then, it might be that certain projects take precedence over other projects, and this stage gating can help them establish that. And it also helps to reduce project risk. You're only releasing funding at certain areas of the time, and you're confident that the project is ready to go to the next stage to spend that extra money on. So I hope this has given you a little bit of clarification on what stages are and stage gating and why it might benefit your project. So that's all from me for now, and thank you very much for listening, and look forward to seeing you on my next video. Thank you.